Muslim extremists attack Moscow, Russia, leaving Putin very upset. Now, I just want to make this very clear to preface this video because I just know somebody in the comments is probably going to take me out of context. You don't have to be pro-Russian, you don't have to be pro-Ukrainian to be pro-human life. And I think as a Christian or any normal, sane human being, you don't even have to be a Christian, guys. I think we can all agree that we are pro-human, regardless if it's someone from Israel, someone from Palestine, someone from Ukraine, someone from Russia, the 4 controversial countries of 2024. It doesn't matter which side it's on. It doesn't matter what faith they are in. I think we can all agree that we should at least agree that we value human life, regardless of where it's coming from. So regardless if you like Putin or not, whether you like Russia or Ukraine more, whether you like Israel or Palestine more, I think we can all agree that this is a very horrific, disgusting event. Why is it okay for these Muslim extremists to go ahead and kill hundreds of people in Moscow, Russia? Why is that okay? This is literally satanic, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the evidence that I have, guys, because I know Muslims are going to say, oh, I'm being Islamophobic. Nothing about this is Islamophobic. Here's my evidence right here. Moscow attack, Russia confront Islamist terrorism, 2024. And then as we continue to read this article, guys, it makes it very clear here. It says the attack on Friday, 22 March by the Islamic State group in Croatian on a concert hall in Moscow reminded the Russian authorities of the Islamic threat to Russia since the Afghan war and the wars in Chechnya. Why was Russia been hit? What are the possible geopolitical repercussions of this attack? How is the jihadist threat developing in Central Asia? Interview with John de Galancy, Senior Research Fellow at IRIS and former French ambassador to Russia, specializing in Russian issues. Ukrainian thing, guys, we must realize these are human lives. These are humans that were created intricately, intelligently, and intimately in the eyes of God. We're all a creation of God. It is not okay for any human being to just be murdered because they're not Muslim. And I know people are trying to find some kind of sense in this. What was the reason? Maybe Putin did something wrong to the Muslims, and this is why they're reacting with these terrorist attacks. But guys, that's just why they're called terrorist attacks, guys. There doesn't have to be a reason why they're doing it. It's just because their religion tells them it's okay. Their religion gives them all the fuel they need to support these terrorism attacks and attempts. And this one, unfortunately, wasn't just an attempt. It was an actual attack by Muslim jihadists. Over 200 or 300 people in Russia were injured. Again, these are human beings, guys, regardless if they're in Russia or not. And so this is honestly very, very, very sad. And the fact that people are just passing this off as, oh, you know, Putin must have did something wrong, so it automatically justifies these Muslims. No, it's not. I don't care if you're wherever country it is, guys. It doesn't matter. It should never be okay for Muslims to just be able to attack people. And this is what's going to happen to our Western world if we don't stand up and talk about this stuff. And fear of being Islamophobic. Do you know how many college students out there thinking they're very intelligent, going to university, Harvard, Yale, MIT? They think they're so intelligent, guys. But yet they're the same ones supporting Islam. And a lot of people, they honor God with their lips, but their hearts are far from him. I mean, guys, the evidence is literally as clear as daylight. It does not get any more clear than this. So let's go ahead and read this really quickly, and then I'm going to give my opinions after. Because it states the attack carried out on Friday, 22 March by a terrorist commando affiliated with Daesh at the Crocus City Hall in Moscow left 140 people dead and 300 injured. Why was Russia targeted? What are the precedents between Russia and Islamic terrorism? How does this attack highlight the shortcomings of the Russian intelligence services? So they're trying to spin the narrative and to take the blame basically off of the Muslim terrorists and put the blame basically on everyone else except the oppressors or the attackers, which are the Muslims in this scenario. So then it states, during the war in Afghanistan, Russia came up against Afghan Islamists armed in particular by the United States. Very interesting. The United States wouldn't do such a thing ever, guys. Is that so? Some of whom became Al-Qaeda. Then the Chechen War saw Chechen nationalism transformed into Caucasian jihadism, directed against Russia. Then in Syria, Russia clashed with Daesh. The American withdrawal from Afghanistan sparked a full-scale war between the Taliban and Daesh. And Moscow's relatively good relation with the Taliban made Russia a target. It should come as no surprise that since the First Chechen War, there has been a succession of attacks against Russians by jihadists. With the Dovbroka Theater, over 150 dead, including 130 hostages in 2002, and the Beslan School, 334 dead, including 186 children in 2004, peaking, there have been numerous bloody jihadist attacks on a regular basis, notably at airports and in the Moscow and Petersburg metros, and dozens of deaths. Now, just a little quick recap. So they're basically saying hundreds and thousands of people have died because of basically Islam. So just because Russia decided they wanted to be friends with another country, which is totally normal, the US is friends with certain countries, Mexico is friends with certain countries, so is China, and the list goes on. Every single country in this world is allies with other countries. So you're basically telling me that these Muslims got upset that they were friends with a country and they decided to go ahead and attack them, or because they were friends with a specific group of people or organizations that they got attacked by these Muslim extremists. That is diabolical and satanic. And then just so you guys don't know, if you guys aren't aware, Moscow and St. Petersburg are the very top two cities of Russia. They're like saying Miami or New York, or like saying Lima and Cusco in Peru, or like saying Manila and Cebu in the Philippines. They're the top two most popular cities in Russia. And then it continues to say the last attack organized by Daesh in September 22 targeted the Russian embassy in Kabul, killing 10 people. Wow, this is satanic, guys. The ongoing risk of jihadist attacks is taken into account by the Russian authorities, but despite warning signs, it is difficult to predict the day, time, and place of the attack, and the war in Ukraine is mobilizing the efforts of the security services and no doubt reducing their vigilance against jihadists. In any case, despite an initial show of solidarity with the authorities, the attack on Crocus Hall and its 140 dead will be blamed on a failure of security and therefore of the government. So pretty much they're trying to turn this into a geopolitical issue, guys, instead of realizing that this is something that's much deeper. This is not a geopolitical issue, guys. This is an Islam issue against the world. And so the way Putin responded to this, guys, I know you guys probably don't know, but the way he responded to this was by saying, oh, it was part of the Ukraine war and this and that, A to Z. And I don't want to get into politics, but pretty much regardless of what you think it's coming from, the fact that Muslims use their religion in such a political and militaristic way should show you that Islam has no truth. Because Jesus Christ, when he came here on earth, he had the ability to politicize Christianity, but he chose not to. He came in the likeness of man while still being God. He came here in the form of God while still literally, because of his humility, he came here in the likeness of man while still being God. He could have had the whole world in his hands, but he chose to willfully die on the cross for the forgiveness of our sins. He could have been some great king or emperor, and he could have ruled us for thousands of generations. But Jesus Christ didn't come here for a physical kingdom. He came here for a spiritual kingdom. And that's what separates Christianity from every other false religion in the world. If we believe that Jesus Christ is God and that 3 days after he resurrected for the forgiveness of our sins, we shall be saved. The gospel is that simple. You're not saved by your own works. You're not saved by anything else. You're saved by Jesus Christ alone. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you learned something from this video is edifying or interesting, please smash that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, share this with someone that you think could learn. And I'd love to hear your opinions below. God bless you guys.